Good to have you with us. We begin with a breaking monumental move. President Joe Biden will not seek re-election. In a statement today, Biden touted his accomplishments within his first term, but said he believes it's in the best interest of his party and country to end his campaign. We have team coverage tonight deep diving into this decision. ABC 13's Rachel Tillepaugh will share our lawmakers' reactions. But first, national correspondent Kayla Gaskins shares the latest details on who President Biden is now endorsing as the party candidate.
After weeks of mounting pressure from his own party following the poor debate performance, Joe Biden stepping down from the top of the ticket.
It is time to pass the torch so that we can have our best chance of winning in November.
The announcement made Sunday afternoon on social media. Joe Biden posting a letter to his personal accounts that reads in part, "While it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the interest of my party and the country for me to stand down."
I'm emotional because I am still riding with Biden. I still support my president.
In a follow-up post, he gave Vice President Kamala Harris his full endorsement as heir apparent to the nomination. The president making it clear he plans to serve the rest of his term. Donald Trump responding to the news on Truth Social, writing, "Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve." CNN reporting Trump thinks Kamala Harris will be easier to beat. House Speaker Mike Johnson demanding Joe Biden resign immediately. Earlier in the day, Johnson saying this to CNN.
It's an interesting question, Jake. If he's incapable of running for president, how is he capable of governing right now? I mean, there is 5 months left in this administration. It's a real concern, and it's a danger to the country.
President Biden spent the past week secluded in Delaware recovering from COVID-19, reportedly growing increasingly furious as top Democrats like Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama flaked on their support. For weeks, Democrat mega donors expressed concerns over Biden's ability to do the job, some withholding donations, fueling alarm among party leaders. As the pressure increased, Democrats began preparing for a potential Kamala Harris run should she end up as the nominee. An effort reportedly underway to vet who could run as her vice president. Kamala Harris releasing a statement saying, "I am honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination." Even with Biden's endorsement, Kamala Harris faces an uncertain path. The Democratic convention in Chicago, which starts August 19th, could be an open contest rather than a coronation. The nearly 4,700 delegates picking who they want to put up against Donald Trump this November. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
And reaction is pouring in following Biden's decision. ABC 13's Rachel Tillepaugh joins us in studio to share what our Virginia leaders have to say. Rachel?
Kelsey, some lawmakers say they were expecting this. Others say it comes as a shock. Democratic Senator Tim Kaine tweeted saying in part, his decision today reflects the same patriotism that George Washington and Teddy Roosevelt demonstrated when they selflessly put their country above their own political ambitions. Senator Mark Warner shared a similar message, saying in part, after all he's done, I respect President Biden's difficult decision to step aside in this upcoming election, and I look forward to hearing more from him later this week. Gloria Witt, the Democratic candidate for Virginia's 5th congressional district, says in part, this development marks a pivotal moment in our nation's history and underscores the need for steadfast leadership. I reached out to lawmakers for interviews today, but no one was available. However, earlier this week, I asked Senator Tim Kaine about the potential of Biden dropping out.
I believe Joe Biden is going to make the right decision for the United States, put country first. I'm not in the inner circle in those discussions, although I am sharing my views privately with the White House. But I don't have any doubt that Joe Biden is going to make the decision that Joe Biden makes is going to be the patriotic one for the country.
To read the lawmakers' full statements, head to our website, WSET.com, and look for this story. Back to you.
And our Republican lawmakers here in Virginia are sharing their thoughts, too. Congressman Ben Cline tweeted this meme saying, "It's fine, everything is fine," with the caption, quote, "A live report from inside Democratic Party head HQ following Biden's ouster." Congressman Bob Good also tweeted saying, "It's Biden's policies and they are destroying the country. Americans know it, and on November 5th, they will reject those harmful policies that are causing so much suffering." So now the big question is, how is the party going to pick a new nominee? I sat down with local political expert Dr. David Richards to dive into that answer.
Biden has officially dropped out of the race, and he has now endorsed
Vice President Harris as the next nominee. But that doesn't mean that it's necessarily official for her, right? What does that process look like to choose the next nominee?
So they haven't officially said what that process will look like exactly, but we can imagine some sort of open convention where Biden's delegates are officially released by Biden, meaning that they can then go vote really sort of for whoever they want to. And then there will be several different rounds of voting. It'll be kind of a scramble, I would imagine, over the next couple of weeks as different candidates try to get in place. Maybe Harris will emerge as the leader and nobody will sort of really seek to challenge her. But I would imagine that other folks might be interested. We might hear from Newsroom, Whitmire, maybe even RFK Jr. will jump back in. Anything can kind of happen at this point.
How do you think Biden's decision to drop out of the race is going to impact polling numbers?
We might see some sort of movement on the polling. Certainly people's reservations about Biden being too old or not mentally sharp enough, that excuse, if you will, has been removed. I think, however, with the polarization that we've seen, look, if you were a Trump supporter before today, I don't think this is going to change your vote. If you were opposed to Trump, I don't think this is going to change your vote. So maybe on the margins, that couple of percent.
So now let's break down the timeline of this decision to drop out. On June 27th, President Biden and former President Trump debated on the national stage. Biden's performance led to the first Democratic lawmaker publicly calling on him to step down on July 2nd. More lawmakers joined the chorus on July 11th after President Biden held a solo press conference. On July 17th, California Congressman Adam Schiff became the highest profile lawmaker to call on Biden to drop out of the race. That same day, President Biden tested positive for COVID-19, ratcheting up concerns about his age and health. He traveled to Delaware to self-isolate. That brings us to today, July 21st, when President Biden issued the statement bowing out of the race, throwing his support behind Vice President Harris.